Hello everybody and welcome to the Rough Idea podcast. This week's episode is on wrestling and we will be covering the latest news from TNA, Lucha Underground and the WWE news concerning Survivor Series and a couple of weeks up to it. I'm Connor and I am joined by my associates here.
I'm Yoshi.
I'm Dan.
Right, so we're going to start off with non-WWE.
Shall I dive in on TNA here?
Yeah, that'll probably be a good idea.
So TNA, since Billy Corgan kind of left, quote unquote, it's been going so downhill. So it's been an absolute train wreck. There are teams that just make no sense, and storylines that just make no sense. I'm remembering just how bad Josh Matthews is on commentary. I'd completely forgotten, he left WWE and I was like, oh, whatever, he was okay. No, he's awful. The thing that keeps getting me is every so often they'll mention something, Al Snow came running out to the ring to defend Mahabali Shera, who is terrible. And immediately after Al Snow comes running out, Josh Matthews is like, Al Snow is trending worldwide on Twitter. It's like, no, that's not how that works. You can't just say things are trending and they will be. That isn't how that works. But they're clearly trying to push the social media stuff, so he keeps shouting about it. Big things in TNA are Eli Drake versus Ethan Carter III. Holy shit. Real main event there. Fuck Jeff Hardy versus the DCC. That was an amazing match between those two. But I fucking love Eli Drake. He is really, really good. As in, he's a good talker and he's a good wrestler. And Ethan Carter III at this point is getting a little bit Roman Reigns on me. He's just winning that little bit too much, and all of his storylines and matches are kind of the same. It's just starting to get a little dull. The whole Ali storyline has dragged on way too long and needs to stop. Ali is the assistant of the leader of the Knockouts women's division, and it's clearly be sympathetic towards Ali. She's kind of being bullied, and eventually she'll fight back, sort of thing. But it's just dragged on way too long at this point. It's been 2-3 months of her basically being bullied and nearly fighting back, and not quite. And then the big thing is broken Matt Hardy, who isn't broken. A couple of weeks back, lost his memory, and it was bullshit amnesia plot where he thinks he's an engineer who wants to be a chef, and he's a pacifist and doesn't want to attack people. Why would he be a pro wrestler? That's too violent for him. And they go through all these things of them trying to get his memory back, and it just kind of hasn't got there, because Broken Matt was an amazing character, and the fact that they've gone, we're going to make him this completely different character who's a pacifist, is just this isn't playing to his strengths very well.
No, they're just, at this point, they're so confident in the meme machine that is Broken Matt and his storyline.
Well, he's back now, thankfully. Very thankfully.
They're doing whatever they fucking feel like. Which can work, but
the bullshit amnesia
get
plot
misses.
Was so bad. It was so badly handled, and eventually they did it in quite a good way, where they kept talking to him, they're trying to get him to be Broken Matt again, and they're saying to him, you've been, Jeff, I think Rebby starts talking at one point, she's just look, we've got a hypnotist in here, Jeff has tried to put you in the Lake of Rejuvenation, I've tried calling to the 7 deities, but they won't listen to me, and he's just oh, the 9 deities won't listen, she's it's 7 deities, and he just doesn't understand a thing of everything he said. But eventually he walks out and he's if I truly am broken, then 7 deities send me a message, and probably get struck by lightning. And that gives him makes him broken again, and the hypnotist one was really well handled as well, because they get a hypnotist and they're you're going to be broken in 3, 2, 1. He starts going off on a rant about being broken Matt Hardy, and he managed to save his immortal soul even after working for the Meek Mahans, and then they're and now you're going to go back to being your true self, and they click again, and he's just I'm going to go and make ice cream for our social tonight, and walks off, and she's why the fuck did you do that? It's been well handled every now and then, but the good points have stood out recently. That's what I'll say. Like, there's been so much bad that the good points really stand out at the top. And that's basically TNA for the last fortnight.
I'm just so happy that Broken Matt Hardy's back, because I'm going to go see Delete WCPW in 4 days. And I really didn't want him to come out and be like...
An
premonitions.
Yeah.
or no matter who they are saying, I knew you would come.
I love everything with Broken Matt, and I'm so glad they've gone back to it.
We can actually announce all the matches from WCPW now, because they've been properly released, and I didn't have to withhold information now, so...
Oh, jeez. Who is that? What's like the main event there and stuff? Do you know?
It's Matt Hardy versus Bubba Ray Dudley.
Oh, God damn.
And they've also got Alberto El Patron, who's Alberto Del Rio, versus Johnny Mundo, who's John Morrison.
God damn, I'm so jealous.
And then it's Cody Rhodes versus El Ligero for the internet title.
Jeez.
That seems pretty decent.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Holy shit. God damn.
And then another match which I still can't announce because they haven't actually put that on. They've still got one more taping left.
Enough, yeah. Lucha Underground stuff as well.
Yeah.
You said there was a big thing.
Yeah, there's the Aztec Warfare match. And it was amazing. It ended with Matanza having his first ever pinfall, which you would have thought they would have brought to some up-and-coming new talent or someone like that, and instead gave it to Rey Mysterio. To be fair, he did take like 3 finishes from other people, followed by 2 619s.
Yeah,
okay, fair.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And it was eventually won by the first ever televised women's champion to hold the main title, which was Sexy Star.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, she's called Sexy Star.
Oh my god.
Empowering women.
That is a terrible name.
If she chose it, it's up to her.
Speaking of empowering women, though, she held the title for exactly 1 week, and then promptly got beaten by Johnny Mundo. So there is now a vacant Fate of the Gods champion as well, because he cashed in his Fate of the Gods title to have a match.
Right, yeah.
That's a really cool sounding title. This is the Fate of the Gods champion.
It's basically a title that continuously gets passed around, that's basically the Money in the Bank.
Right, yeah. I was going to say, saying about Sexy Star being a terrible name, but then again, I was talking about TNA. They've got... So Gail Kim's vacated the Knockouts Championship there, and they've got a title match next week, which is between Rosemary and Jade. Like, those are the most boring names you could imagine. Also, that was hilariously bad because Rosemary said something about "we are nature's cockroach," and I was like, and then what is the cockroach? Like, is the cockroach not nature's cockroach? That was a terrible promo. What the fuck?
To be fair, when Emma comes back from injury, she's being called Emmalina.
Oh, don't remind me.
Emmalina, though.
Oh my god. Gods. Was there more Lucha stuff, or because there's a couple of other not WWE things as well?
Yeah, that's really been the main stuff that's happened. They had a trios tag match, and for some reason, Paul London of all people were there.
Fair enough.
And they were doing this whole thing where they all held hands and like ran round them singing like "Ring a Ring a Rosie." It was really bad.
What?
Yeah.
Why? What?
I don't understand even what happened, but yeah. There was 3 people who held hands and kind of danced around in circles for a bit.
Oh my god.
I nearly closed the thing I was watching on, but that's really the only other thing that's happened.
You know what wrestling needs? More nursery rhymes.
I mean, it works for Bray Wyatt. Oh wait. So there's a couple of other things I want to mention. One of them is just like kind of piece of WWE news that isn't WWE, which is Vader. The news about Vader. And, like, he's been given, like, less than a year to live, was it?
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy shit. Like, Vader is... Honestly, like, I will say this as somebody who, like, started watching wrestling in, like, the late 90s. I never really saw much of Vader. But even then...
No, it's not one that I particularly saw that much of either.
But I've heard enough, I know enough about Vader to say that he is, like, one of the almost, like, building blocks of pro wrestling as it is today. Like, he set up so much of what is there. He established so many of the big names. Mick Foley said that he wouldn't be where he was without Vader, and like that's a big deal. And like, there's calls now for him to be in the Hall of Fame, and I will actually be like genuinely pissed off if he isn't.
No, he's got to be put in the Hall of Fame.
Has to be. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention, it's not directly WWE, but we should probably cover it before we talk about the main stuff. NXT Takeover Toronto.
Yep.
Was godlike. I liked that they started off with an all-Canadian match. That's kind of a nice touch.
Yeah.
To me, that match was better than every other Survivor Series match, in my eyes.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of what was good about it was the crowd.
Well, yeah,
the crowd make a lot.
They were still chanting 10 on Raw the next night.
Yeah. On that note, Kevin Owens did a really good job of like turning that away. Everyone else just kind of panics when the crowd's there, and then like there are a couple of people who really know how to handle it. KO is one of them. But yeah, honestly, I feel like the crowd kind of made the Ty Dillinger Bobby Roode match, but it was a very good way of getting around the fact that people always cheer hometown heels. Like, people are always going to cheer Bobby Roode in that situation. Unless he's against another Canadian, in which case, then they're going to cheer for...
business as usual, kind of.
Right. They like both of them, but they're going to cheer for whoever they're going to cheer for. Which, with Ty Dillinger... Oh, also, can I just mention, Ty Dillinger, like, I don't really watch, like, main NXT that much anymore. Last time I watched, Ty Dillinger was, like, just starting his Perfect 10, and he was going from being, like, losing every match, he was there just to lose, you know, like... Now he's suddenly built himself an incredible reputation, an incredible character. He's really climbing up the roster, and that's amazing. And credit to him for it. He's basically built it himself, and congrats. Otherwise, I was fairly disappointed with the NXT one, by NXT standards, I will say. Like, it doesn't help that I watched Survivor Series and then the next day went back and watched the NXT TakeOver, and loads of people were going, TakeOver was better than everything Survivor Series did. All of TakeOver was incredible. And like, no, there are a couple of good matches and a couple of really bad ones. Like, the women's match was fucking awful. I just want to throw that out there. Mickie James looked great. Asuka didn't. Asuka looked boring, and I say that as somebody who quite likes Asuka. When I was watching her before, she looked really boring. She didn't look like she belonged there. And that's worrying, actually. I was disappointed that Ember Moon wasn't in the match, to be honest. Like, I feel like Ember Moon is probably better, but I don't know.
They're still trying to build her up, I think. Give her more of a reputation within NXT before they give her the title.
That makes sense.
Yeah. She's already got the talent as a worker, but not so much in, like... I wouldn't say a trust sense, but as like a reputation sense.
Oh, right. I was more thinking that she's got the wrestling talent, but not necessarily the promos and stuff. So she's. I
haven't really seen much in the way of promos for Ember Moon. I haven't been paying.
No, I haven't. I'll admit,
close attention. But I need to see, because I just need to know if she's bad at promos or not.
Yeah,
she did one. She did one with Bayley, and it was really cringy.
Oh.
Like, it was after Bayley had her last match against Asuka. Ember Moon came up to her like backstage, and it was just really cringy. Like, Ember Moon was doing this whole like, I really look up to you, even though she was looking down at her. And like, it was just made no sense to even happen. because then she's trying to make it so like she's looking really fierce all the time.
Yeah.
And then she's going up to another person and is like, I've really looked up to you, I think you're my friend, and stuff like this.
Yeah, no.
However, on NXT this week, they had a 6-man tag match with Ember Moon in there. And she hit a springboard stunner, but the person she was hitting it on hadn't turned towards her.
Oh.
And it looked brutal. Like, she actually looked like she'd really hurt her neck afterwards.
Fuck.
There's a chance it probably did sting a little bit.
Yeah, because instead of just like, as they do it, she like the other person's obviously facing towards her, so all they have to do is bend over.
Yeah.
But because she was sideways, she kind of had to twist at the same time.
And
because of that, her neck landed like sideways instead of straight downwards.
Fuck. Nice. I don't know. Yeah, do you guys have anything else to say about like NXT and Takeover and stuff? Or
not immediately, no.
DIY versus the Revival was match of the weekend for me.
That was one of the good matches.
Because
although I have to say that there were 4 tag teams at Takeover, because there was that match for the championship, and then there was the Dusty Rhodes Classic finals between TM61 and Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
And like 3 of the 4 teams across these matches are amazing teams, incredible, future tag team champions, great. And then there's the Authors of Pain.
I knew you were going to say them.
Did literally nothing. At one point, one of them, the bit that got me was like, they got the chain dropped down to them that they were meant to use as the weapon, and he ran forward, missed with it, threw it into the crowd.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh, but it caused a distraction, so... It's like, no, he fucked up. That it was so bad.
That is tactical whiffing.
Like, TM61 looked really good. And I know, to be fair, they're established names elsewhere.
They are struggling in NXT, though.
Really?
Yeah, like week in, week out, they do promos that are very, very average. And then they come out and they wrestle the same way. But I've seen videos of them touring around the indies. And they were like Young Bucks level, the next big thing.
Jesus.
And they've come to NXT, and I really think they've struggled so far.
That's disappointing, actually, because they've looked really, really good in this one match that I've seen. But if it's the same every time, then that kind of explains it.
That was probably the best match I've seen them in so far, though.
Fair enough, yeah. I will say DIY versus Revival. So DIY as well, like, I didn't know until I watched NXT that's a really terrible name for them, by the way.
It's awful, isn't it?
Gargano and Ciampa, who are amazing. Both of them are incredible wrestlers. That match was, again, it was really, really good, but I don't enjoy watching Revival. I think they've got really good mannerisms, and I think they're really good at promos, but their in-ring style bores the shit out of me.
I absolutely love them.
See, I love
I
Gargano
can't wait
and
for them to move
Ciampa,
up.
and I thought the match was good but weird, basically.
Because I've been watching it like every single week for like the past year and a bit now. I've become so emotionally invested in that rivalry.
Okay, that makes some sense.
Because there was a whole last takeover. Gargano tapped out, and he had no choice because Ciampa wasn't there, but he still blames himself. Then it was his retribution.
I saw that in the promos, at least. Yeah. Cool. I think that's that then. So.
Yeah, who cares about Nakamura and Smojo?
Oh yeah, that was a match. Fuck. To be fair, so I think we spoke about this briefly, but I was really shocked by the result of that match. The actual match was like, again, good but not great. Although, again, I think that with Samoa Joe most of the time, I'm not a big fan of his.
Yeah, he's gotten really boring since his TNA days.
Just like...
Yeah, I remember seeing him in TNA quite a bit, but I hadn't followed him as much since he joined NXT.
Whereas I've only seen him in NXT, like, when he first joined. And just every match seemed to be the same. He was really slow and plodding and boring. Whereas you're putting him up against like people like I've seen him against people like Finn Balor and Nakamura, and they're just infinitely better. They're like outstanding, and he's there just kind of like vaguely plodding around the ring. I don't enjoy it. I don't think he's that good at the moment, and I'm glad. I'm glad he won, because it probably means that Nakamura's moving up before he does.
Yeah.
I've got the general idea that whoever wins in Japan will stay in NXT, and whoever loses is going to be in the Royal Rumble.
That makes sense. That would make a
good
lot
time
of
to just
sense.
introduce an NXT person.
Yeah, they normally have at least one, don't they?
Also, if Ty Dillinger does not come in at number 10, I will be very angry.
Oh god. Oh god, if they're still doing the Ty Dillinger chants at Royal Rumble, the entire countdowns. They're going to count down from 10 and it will just be 10, 10, 10, 10. Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. Holy shit.
It's to the point where whoever comes out number 10 will get booed.
Yeah.
It's not Ty Dillinger.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if anyone's going to come up to NXT, I think Shinsuke is a very good one to bring up.
Yeah, there are a couple I could see moving up.
He originally wanted to. He originally wanted to be on Raw to start with.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then they put him in NXT so they could teach him, like...
English.
Yeah, well, no, he already knew English. It was like the differences between wrestling in Japan and in America.
Oh, right, yeah, that makes sense as well. Also, I know there was a big thing with Finn Balor because they were saying wrestling for kind of like a big TV show is different to like a kind of small, sort of indie but still recorded thing. Because I know they said about all the differences of like where you're meant to look at the cameras and things like that, and it's just like really, really oddly specific things. But I remember seeing like Triple H was telling him like you don't look into the camera, you look at like the corner of the frame, so it looks like you're looking at the camera, but it doesn't have that like creepy stare. And that was one of the things that Finn had to learn. And keeping in mind he's been going since forever.
Why haven't they said that to Braun Strowman? He's always looking directly into the lens.
Yes, but he's meant to look creepy, so it makes sense for him to do that.
Would you look Braun Strowman in the eye and tell him he's wrong?
Also that. Which brings us quite nicely onto Survivor Series as a thing.
Should we talk about Survivor Series first or the run-up?
So there was the build-up. I don't actually have that much to say about the build-up, other than it was cool. I like that they did really interesting, weird matches. Yeah. And it is a good opportunity for them to do that. The one that stood out was, like, Seth teaming up with Strowman and Jericho. Like, Reigns being able to fight against Sheamus and Cesaro. Like, Reigns looked really good in that match. Because he was fighting against people who kind of suit him, who he wouldn't normally be able to go against. So it's a fresh match, it's fresh competition. And it's competition that works with him.
When he's against big powerhouses like Sheamus and Cesaro, he can sort of do his thing a bit more.
See, I almost think it was the other way round. It was that he was in a match where he wasn't trying to be the powerhouse all the time because he's against people who are meant to be his size and his strength. He could kind of just wrestle.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I feel like the way WWE intended it was that he was meant to be the powerhouse over those guys, which you're not gonna do with Cesaro.
It's fucking Cesaro.
It's not gonna happen. But I really like the build-up, and the final match on Raw was just God. It was the Seth Jericho Strowman one, wasn't it?
I think so.
Oh no! The end. Sorry, it was the end segment. It was Raw versus SmackDown teams. It was when Daniel Bryan and Shane were in the ring. And during all of that, there was some nice rivalries building. I like the way they're slowly working up the matches at that point. But also, Strowman looked really good. Reigns looked really good. Strowman still got taken out. He didn't look God mod. He wasn't overpowered or anything. It was just genuinely good build-up. They addressed Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman. They addressed the Shield. They addressed Jericho versus AJ Styles. They went through all of these little rivalries and they really just homed in on them. And that was amazing. I thought that was actually perfectly done.
The continuity they've kept for the stuff surrounding Survivor Series has been really good.
Yeah, and surprising given that WWE expects you to have like a 5-second memory.
Yeah. Christian and Edge.
There's always one example that jumps out at me for that, which is it was AJ Lee doing a promo. It was when she was with Ziggler against Jericho, who had been bought back by Vicky Guerrero. And like she did this promo where she really slowly was like, I was personally responsible for you being fired to Jericho. And you stop and think about it and you're like, yeah, she was. Except she was trying to help him by giving him Dolph Ziggler's Money in the Bank because she hated Dolph Ziggler, who she's now stood next to. Wait a second, what the fuck? And Ziggler obviously realizes that you should not say this slowly, you should not give people the chance to think about this makes no sense. He just kind of pushed her out the way and was like, yeah, good one, babe. And then just so how do you think you're going to beat me? He had nothing to follow up with. He just kind of pushed her out of the way and was like, yeah, stop talking. And Jesus Christ. I'm so glad AJ Lee is gone. I thought she was awful. Yeah, SmackDown build up as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sidetracking everywhere. SmackDown build up was incredible. The opening with Ziggler and The Miz, good. The Miz winning there through Maurice again. I was just like, alright, it's getting a little old. I'm a little tired of this. I do like The Miz winning. I think that made more sense. And we mentioned this in predictions. We all thought that Miz would go on to face Sami Zayn before the Miz Ziggler match.
Oh yeah, we all thought that was going to happen.
Yeah. The women's team invading, the Raw women's team invading there. I still hate Nia Jax. I still absolutely hate it. She only got beaten there because she fucked up. I can't remember what it was exactly, but she did something, and then it was like, oh, that was it. She went to charge someone through the barricade, and they sidestepped her. And so she went ploughing through the barricade. And it's like, oh, she can only be beaten if she beats herself. No, fuck off. That annoys me so much. Kalisto had a match against apparently an NXTer, Oni Lorcan, who I've never heard of, but
beat Ty Dillinger before.
Really? Oh god.
His debut match, he beat Ty Dillinger.
Wow.
And that was 3 months ago.
He looked good in this match. Unfortunately, Kalisto didn't. He just kept fucking up, basically. And I get that his style is more prone to mistakes, but when you have a 5-minute match and make 2 big mistakes,
yeah,
that ain't good. There was one point where he was meant to go for a Salita del Sol and just didn't manage to jump up. So he had to just go for it again. He jumped and then Oni Lorcan credit to him, reacted really well for it and just promptly threw him against the ropes. So he was it looked like he countered it as opposed to Kalisto just failing, because Kalisto got halfway up and then fell, and Oni Lorcan kind of leaned back and then pushed him forwards. But the other one was that Kalisto went for, the off the rope springboard lariat thing.
Yeah.
He went for that, hit the rope and tripped, and just kind of crumpled to the floor. And again, credit to Oni Lorcan, he went straight in for a pin. He made it look like he almost covered it up. It looked like he'd fucked up, which he kind of had. But Oni Lorcan immediately was just I'm going to capitalise. I'm going to, try and work with this. And went in to get a pin looking... It looked good. It looked like a genuine match, as opposed to him going to standing there awkwardly for a bit and, letting Kalisto get up again.
Well, it's something they quite often say in, acting circles and stuff. It's if there's a fuck-up, roll with it.
Yeah.
Don't ever try and bring attention to the fuck up.
Don't acknowledge your mistakes.
Because the audience don't know that it's meant to that it's not meant to happen.
Right.
So just go with it.
Yeah, and this is the thing with the Kalisto one. It looked like he was meant to trip on the rope, and Oni Lorcan would get the pin and kick out, and it was quite close from that point on again. But
yeah,
I think to anyone watching and anyone who knows the dynamics of a wrestling match, you look at it and you're he wasn't meant to do that. He was meant to go for the springboard lariat.
Yeah.
The other big thing in SmackDown, and this will be an interesting one, although it didn't come up this week, Edge and The Undertaker. The
Yes.
segment with them, the cutting edge. And Undertaker basically saying, I'm going to be wrestling on SmackDown again. That's a big deal. Undertaker on, like, normal shows?
Yeah. My worry is it's a fairly frequent, very strenuous thing for Taker to do, and he's definitely been waning a bit.
I don't agree with that. I think he's still incredible. I think his last match was really good. I think the only times he's looked bad are against Brock Lesnar, and I don't think that's Undertaker's fault. I think that's Brock Lesnar giving him a concussion in the first move at WrestleMania.
I mean, yes, that's so much, but I do think, and it's nothing against Taker. I just think it's the amount he's been around.
That's fair, I guess. Yeah,
he's just it's a very intense thing to be doing.
Yeah,
and still props to him for how well he is doing.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, I think he can still wrestle, nowhere near as well as he used to. But let's be fair, he used to be considered probably the best in the business at one point.
Yeah.
So saying not as well as he used to is not a slight on him, and it's not, I'm not attacking him at all. Like, it's saying that even if he's not as good as he used to be, he can probably still perform very well. And let's face it, what he's probably going to be doing is building up a bit of a reputation, having a few big matches here and there, putting some people over along the way, like bringing up some of the newcomers. He will probably have another match against Bray Wyatt at some point coming up. I could see Undertaker and Kane versus Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. Like, that seems like a very credible match.
As long as he's not against Kane, it's fine.
I want him to have a WrestleMania against Kane.
We've already done them.
I know, but the point is, it hasn't been done in years. I want his last match in WWE to be against Kane. I don't care, like, he can not fight Kane the entire time building up to it, but I want his last match to be WrestleMania versus Kane.
And I hope
it would be a
retire.
very nice.
Kane is
a very nice send off.
Get fucked. Kane should not retire. Kane is so good still.
He's the literal embodiment of a dad bod.
Okay, true, but Kevin Owens is a wrestler, so let's not talk about, like, we can't talk about builds and appearances here. Also, I just want to say, like, the whole cutting edge thing was just, like, pure fan service. It was so awkward with James Ellsworth. I would have preferred it being at the start of the show, but, having, like, the fan service nostalgia bit is fine. I'm okay with that. And the fact that they basically ended it with Undertaker going, I'm fighting for SmackDown, bye. Like, okay, fair enough. I can see why it's there. I'll take it for what it is. Any other comments on the build-up?
I'm not sure. I know it was before the main match. I don't exactly remember when. It was James Ellsworth meeting Braun Strowman.
Oh, that was at the
and that
intro
was
to
at
Survivor.
TLC.
Yeah, it's a reasonable segue.
That was so good.
Braun just looks at him, just like, do I know you?
Well, also Mick Foley trying to bring Strowman back to Raw. Because when Strowman showed up on SmackDown, one of the things that did actually happen was Mick Foley started posting on Facebook going, like, you can't do this, SmackDown, he's a Raw guy. Like, he's one of us. I love little things like that. Like, Foley is so good at handling, like, tiny little promos and, like, almost like bonus sections, I guess. He's so good at handling that kind of thing. And, yeah, that was just another one of them, and I think it was great. Also, yeah, Ellsworth versus Strowman is hilarious. The fact that... Well, I mean, that was how he came in, right? He was the first match for Strowman. Jeez.
Yeah, it was the first jobber.
So, Survivor Series predictions. I'm just... I mean... who won it this time? Who won? Yeah.
The smugness. The smugness is real.
So, I was disappointed that there was no Ziggler and no Rusev. Like, they had a pre-show built for it, and then it was like cruiserweight tag match and Kane versus Luke Harper. Which, thinking back on it, seeing Kane versus Luke Harper and going, oh, and Kane wins, probably should have told me the ending of the men's match.
Yeah.
But I mean, hindsight and all that. Also, I kind of guessed the ending of the men's match anyway.
Humble brag.
This is gonna happen the entire way through this. I hope you know.
Oh, I realise.
So, the women's match was really disappointing, right? Not just me who thought that.
No, I hated the women's match.
It was kind of mediocre.
I mean, I like that they brought out Natalya for Canada, because Natalya is an incredible wrestler, and I feel like her reputation has been run into the ground, that the second she shows up now, people boo. Regardless of what she's doing, regardless of how she performs. The only exception to that is in Canada. And so, I like that she was able to wrestle there. I like the fact that she sharpshooted Nia Jax into submission.
Oh yeah, and we get to be very smug as people who dislike Nia Jax to see her not just go out, but go out in what's often the most humiliating fashion.
Well, it was the fact that
submitting.
Yeah, it's the fact that Natalya has been buried to hell, and Nia Jax has been built up as though she's a fucking goddess, and all of a sudden they're like, you know what? She's going to give up against Natalya. Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to see. On the other hand, there was a lot of stuff I didn't want to see. Most notably, I would say, is Alexa Bliss in that match. By which I mean, I would have loved to see Alexa Bliss in that match, but it didn't fucking happen.
She came in and got big booted, didn't she? And that was it.
Pretty much, yeah. I think she got a splash at one point earlier in the match.
Oh, yeah.
But literally, she tagged in, did the splash, and then tagged out. Or got the pin.
Yeah, I was really annoyed at that.
Top tier, 5-star performance all around there.
She's amazing.
Considering she's meant to be number one contender.
Right.
Yeah.
To be fair, Survivor Series did break that in a few other regards. Cough, cough, tag team match, cough.
And Sasha Banks.
And that, yeah. Actually, Sasha did, nothing. God. I didn't even make notes on Sasha, because it was just there was nothing to make notes about. Alexa Bliss was the one that stood out. But, yeah. Also,
sorry, the less Sasha Banks does, the less chance she has of breaking her neck by landing on her fucking head again.
Jesus Christ.
No, I just saw a thing earlier saying who says WWE 2K17 isn't a realistic game.
Oh god.
Just one where it's literally Sasha walking into the ring, walking across it, falling over the ropes and landing on her head.
Well, there was the one at Hell in a Cell and she got thrown into the cell and she literally kicked herself in the head. That's how much she bent.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway,
the other thing I want to say about the women's match quickly was just the ending was really, really weird.
It just sort of happened.
Well, Charlotte got battered about, and we were saying beforehand, my prediction was that Sasha and Bayley would win, because specifically I thought Charlotte would be eliminated and then those two would get the win, and so Charlotte would be at ringside while Bayley gets the winning pin. And that kind of happened, except it was Bayley and Charlotte who survived, and Charlotte, it was really confusing, because Charlotte got battered about, was forced to tag Bayley in when she didn't want to. Bayley goes in, does 2 Bayley's bellies, and then gets the pin. And suddenly Charlotte is healthy enough to get up and beat the ever-loving shit out of Bayley, who is still perfectly okay because she's done basically nothing. It really confused me. Charlotte's crawling and gasping and dying, and then it's just oh, actually I'm fine and you're fucked. Whoops.
You have to remember she hasn't been the best at selling moves ever.
It's not it was just it was such a weird... I guess it jumped too quickly. She went from overselling everything to the point of death to suddenly perfectly healthy and fine. On the predictions there, by the way, so me and Connor both said Sasha, except I also said Bayley. But Dan got this one completely right. Dan actually said Charlotte and Bayley. We all got the winning team, because obviously they're not going to make Charlotte lose her first pay-per-view here. She's 15-0 or something at this point.
I think it's 13 now.
Jeez.
Off the top of my head.
They're not going to make her lose her first pay-per-view to just oh, it's Survivor Series, whoops.
Yeah.
I could have seen her getting pinned here, and that was why I didn't go for her. I thought she was going to get pinned here to build up towards her losing at the next one. But, so the Intercontinental match. I said earlier that I hated The Miz winning by cheating again, but the way they did it in the Sami Zayn match was actually perfect.
Yeah, it was a very good way of doing the whole coward heel thing.
Right. but also it works really well considering it's a Survivor Series in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, hitting the bell early, thinking they've tapped out, it's like, hold on. And then, can I just say also, Maurice, like, sold it perfectly. The fact that the ref turns around and sees her with the bell hammer and she throws it at the official next to her and, like, starts pointing at him as though he rung it. Like, I was just like, this is golden. I fucking love this. And, yeah.
Comedic timing at its best.
It was so good. I have no complaints about that match, actually. I'm glad The Miz won.
Yeah.
I like the way he won, because it was cowardly heel, but it was cowardly heel that wasn't just, I'm going to run away and Maurice is going to pull at them when they're trying to get back in, and then I'm going to sneak up on them and, like...
Yeah, it was a really original one. Not many people have done fucking with the ring bell.
Right. Yeah, it was... At least it's not been done in fucking ages, which is good.
Well, apart from... Was it Dean?
Dean did it a few times, but Dean did fucking everything in that match.
True.
That was the James Ellsworth one, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there are any other comments on the Intercontinental match, because...
Not really, it was just generally a solid match.
We all predicted it right as well, for reference, unsurprisingly. The tag match... So the tag match was a weird one.
It was a very weird one, and it was also my greatest downfall.
I mean, so I hated how the match started, because, firstly, Tyler Breeze is a really good wrestler, and he literally didn't even enter the ring.
Yeah, I was annoyed about that as well.
Like, Fandango walked in, promptly got... I can't remember what the New Day's, like, team finisher is called, or if it even has a name.
I can't remember.
Or it was like the big ending, except with Kofi jumping over and, like, neck breaking on the way.
Yeah.
They did that to Fandango immediately, and he got pinned, and that was it. Tyler Breeze did not enter the ring.
No.
But immediately after that, Usos walk in, or whichever Uso walks in, and promptly super kicks Kofi in the side of the head, and that's it. New Day are out.
Yeah, which that also disappoints me.
Yeah,
because as I've mentioned before, it's like for the champions, they really do present the New Day as really weak.
Yes, they definitely do, and like it's weird because like Xavier Woods wasn't even in the ring. Like we can, like usually when they lose, it's because Xavier Woods is there and he gets pinned. But this one was just like, no, you've put in two really, really... I mean, they're all really talented wrestlers, but two that they actually trust as amazing wrestlers. And then they're just like, one finisher, one kick, you're out. Go.
Yeah.
And that was just, I don't know. I mean, I'm biased. I love New Day. I think they're incredible to watch.
A lot of people love the New Day.
A lot of people have
started
hating them, which I'm really disappointed by, and I think those people just have no taste. But that's not the point.
I am starting to go stale on them a bit.
Yeah, I know you're one of them. But also, like, so the other thing that really disappointed me with this match was there was no betrayal. Like, after all the build-up of, like, we're going to turn on you, everyone hates the club.
Yeah.
Like...
The club did nothing,
there was just,
really.
Yeah. There was absolutely
They
nothing.
just went out.
Yeah.
They eliminated someone.
Yeah, they got a couple of
I can't
eliminations,
remember who. Oh, they eliminated Gable and Jordan.
Yeah.
Bastards.
The Shining Stars were, like, the third team left in, I think.
Yeah.
Like, New Day went straight away, and then I think Enzo and Cass went. No, were Enzo and Cass... I can't remember now, fuck it. I did like how the match ended. Cesaro and Sheamus. Firstly, because I love Cesaro and Sheamus, but secondly, because they've not really built up that much momentum as a team, and this giving them a good win. But not only was it a good win, it was a good win where they actually worked really well together.
Yeah.
Like... There were just lots of little things that worked out really, really well to give them the win, and I thought that was amazing. So, yeah, I dislike...
And was that why Cesaro did the 619?
Oh, I love Cesaro's 619. It's so good, and it just doesn't look like it works, but it does. He's amazing.
Yeah, it looks awkward, but it was really cool.
He's so good. Oh my god.
I still want to see him do the West Coast pop afterwards.
Yeah.
So the next match. Oh yeah, as the thing on the predictions there. So Dan predicted the wrong team
and the wrong show.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Connor got
everything.
No,
wrong,
you got
pretty much.
Raw winning.
No, I got the right team. Was it?
You got Raw winning, but
yeah,
didn't get the Survivors right. And I got that
to be
match
honest,
completely
we knew
right.
that was going.
Yeah, you said
we knew that I wasn't going to get the Survivors right though from the day of the predictions.
Yes. I actually got that one right somehow. And then, so the next match was the Cruiserweight one, Kendrick and Kalisto.
Yes.
Which, yeah, it was a decent match. There were some really nice moments to it, I thought. And then Baron Corbin happened.
Yes, Baron Corbin did happen.
Baron Corbin, I fucking hate that guy. Holy shit, he is such a bad wrestler. And like, oh my god, I can't understand why he exists. And like, I'm just going to jump forward a bit now. Like in this week's SmackDown as well, they gave him a match against Kane, and it was just so that Kalisto could run in and attack him. And I was just like, for fuck's sake.
They did the same with the Miz versus Kalisto.
Oh yeah,
Baron Corbin got
Kalisto
involved in that one as well.
Kalisto got a title shot, and Corbin came in and interfered, and then Kane versus Corbin, and Kalisto came in and attacked him with a chair. And I'm just like, for fuck's sake, can we just like move Kalisto to Raw so he can join the Cruiserweights, fire Baron Corbin, and just move on? Have the Miz versus Kane, fine. Like, that sounds good, but just like, I'm so sick of Baron Corbin. He is useless. The one
Can
interesting...
I just say...
Go on, yeah.
Do you reckon Kalisto is now going to get a world title shot? Just because he got the Cruiserweight title match, Baron Corbin got involved, got an Intercontinental title match, Baron Corbin got involved. Does that mean he now gets a world title shot?
They'll put him in a tag team with someone.
No, just by himself, I think.
You're just on his own against fucking Ryan Slater. He'll win, don't worry. Oh no, Corbin will interfere, right.
Yeah.
I do have to say one very minor thing that I did like about that match. They avoided all the controversy of what happens by winning by DQ and stuff by having Corbin run into the ring, Kendrick be in the way, and so Corbin just hit him on the way to Kalisto.
Why couldn't he hit Kalisto first? Then I would have been exactly right.
Well, only if it had actually moved over to SmackDown. If he'd hit Kalisto and they kept it on Raw, you'd have still been right.
I think they announced that if it was disqualification, they weren't moving it.
I don't think they said anything like that.
I think they announced it in the pre-show.
Fair enough.
When they're talking about all the matches.
So then, obviously, yeah, we all predicted Kendrick retaining the title. Then it was the men's match.
Yes, it was. Which I liked.
It was everything I wanted it to be, honestly. Mm-hmm. I cannot say a bad word about it, really. There are a couple of cool moments that, there are a couple of really good moments. There are a couple of really, there are bits that weren't as good, but even the bad points were still decent. And
yeah, it was just all round an incredibly solid match.
Yeah, Reigns actually looked good, I thought.
Yeah.
I still think, the Razor's Edge powerbomb that he does? It's like the Celtic Cross thing. That needs to be his finisher. Why is that not his finisher? Holy shit. That move is...
Instead he's just got the spear, which literally everyone can do, right. And a jumping punch. Yeah.
It's just the idea he can hit it out of everywhere, though, isn't it?
But the Razor's Edge powerbomb is such a good finisher, because it's like he needs the spear and the Superman punch are both out of nowhere kind of moves. He only needs one. He doesn't need both. Personally,
I'd honestly say if he's going to keep one, keep the weird punch.
Yeah, I'd say keep
that's
the
somewhat
punch,
unique
because it's easier to get into as well. It's more out of nowhere than the spear is. But the Razor's Edge powerbomb is his powerhouse move, because that is the only move he has done where he legitimately looks strong and actually looks capable of wrestling. And if he's in against someone smaller, or if he's in against someone where he lands the Razor's Edge powerbomb and doesn't need to win out of nowhere kind of thing, he can just throw them over his shoulders into the powerbomb, and he's immediately in a pinning position and get the pin. And that would just be a really good, really smooth way for him to win a couple of matches. And I don't know why he isn't doing that yet. Related to all of that, the Shield moment. We got our Shield moment again.
Oh yeah, the cool triple powerbomb on AJ.
I like Ambrose betraying AJ. Like, I know loads of people were pissed off about it because they were like, "Oh, he was eliminated. Why are they doing this?" But like,
but it's fucking obvious.
Yeah, you know what? I like it. I'm fine with this because firstly, it kind of hurts Ambrose.
Yeah.
But secondly, it gave us our Shield moment, and it made sense storyline wise. It wasn't just like Ambrose. Oh, he only betrayed everyone so that they could have the Shield. Like, no. Ambrose and AJ Styles have had this for fucking forever. It makes sense for him to do that.
And the Shield thing just was like a ribbon around it.
Yeah.
Just making it all the better.
Strowman's elimination.
That's hilarious.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. By which I mean James Ellsworth.
I was right in saying James Ellsworth would do something big.
Yeah, so one of the people we were watching with, we did predictions with our group as well, and he very specifically, he got every single result wrong. But the one thing he predicted was he said Strowman will be eliminated by Ellsworth. And I was like, Ellsworth can't get a pin, he's not on the team. But you know what? Strowman was eliminated by Ellsworth, so...
Yes.
He got that one right. He got every single match wrong, but he got that right. So, on the predictions, Dan got the wrong team, completely. Connor got the right team, but you said Ambrose would survive. And I got the right team, and I got one of the survivors. I thought Orton would get pinned, and then Wyatt would immediately get the pin from that. Turns out Orton survived as well. It was both of them.
The big thing is, though, Bray Wyatt won something big.
Right. Bray Wyatt ended what was, let's face it, the main event. Fuck Lesnar Goldberg. But that was the main event. And Bray Wyatt ended in the middle of the ring celebrating. Holy shit.
He looked strong. They made him look...
Well, kind of.
Good.
Kind of. They did have...
That got pointed out to me.
They did have...
It's got pointed out by my brother who's watched it. Yeah, my brother's watched that match about 3 times now.
Yeah.
One thing he's pointed out to me is the only time Bray Wyatt tagged into the match was the Sister Abigail at the end.
Really?
That was the only time he tagged himself into the match.
Okay, I take my previous statement back, but they did at least make him look important.
Well, yeah, he was essentially the leader, even though AJ Styles was. He was the one leading the team.
Yeah. Especially since AJ, well, clearly couldn't because Ambrose turned on him.
And the fact that Shane McMahon almost died.
Oh, also that, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. People are blaming Reigns for that again already, and I don't know...
If you see the replay, it is like a shoulder to the face, I think.
Well, no, it's the way he lands.
It's either a shoulder or his head.
It's the way he lands, isn't it? It might be a head to the face, that won't surprise me. But, like, as he goes backwards, where he's meant to land, like, kind of on his back, he lands on his shoulders, so his head just bounces.
I love how Randy Orton broke kayfabe and then went to talk to Shane's son as well.
Oh,
and then realised he was on camera and then just sort of like slithered off back into the ring.
I didn't even notice that shit. Fair enough. And then, so the last match was, Lesnar Goldberg, which we all promptly got wrong.
It's a bit of the elephant in the room, isn't it?
It is. It didn't happen. It was just there.
It wasn't a match. It was like an old WCW Goldberg curb stomp.
Right. So there are a couple of big things from this. So firstly, apparently the reason it wasn't a longer match is because Goldberg fucked his shoulder up fighting off security. And otherwise they were apparently going to do a full match, but they couldn't because Goldberg couldn't wrestle a full match.
And
from what I've heard, though...
Huh?
Yeah, from what I've seen from like wrestling journalist sites, apparently it was Brock Lesnar's call.
Yes, yeah.
Apparently he convinced Vince McMahon to let Goldberg destroy him.
Yes. So,
which is interesting.
And the other thing with this is, so Goldberg has confirmed he's entering the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
He's the only confirmed name so far. Which this brings us nicely onto the fallout, like on the
the aftermath.
Shows. Yeah. So, firstly, I'm really excited for Royal Rumble being the next like big pay-per-view. Like, fuck TLC, right? Let's go Royal Rumble right now. Fucking... It's always my favourite pay-per-view. It's so fun to watch. Like,
it is interesting that they've now gone with not just Goldberg coming back for like 1 or 2 matches.
Right.
He says, I'm sticking around for a while.
Well,
the whole goes, have I got one last title run left in
so
me?
what I'm expecting to happen is he's confirmed entering the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar will not. He will not enter the Royal Rumble. What he will do is get involved and eliminate Goldberg.
Again.
At which point it builds up to a match between them at WrestleMania.
Again.
Or something like that. That's how I see it going. And then Brock can get his win over Goldberg.
If they do that, though, it's a carbon copy of their other WrestleMania match.
Is it?
Except maybe that it wouldn't be fucking terrible.
Yeah, apart from that, probably Stone Cold won't special guest referee it.
Yeah, that one too. So the thing I will say as well is the last few Royal Rumbles have been really, really predictable and really, really boring. However, Goldberg is perfect for a Royal Rumble because he can come in and he can look like a fucking powerhouse. He can tank the shit out of everything, but he doesn't have to win it. If he comes in at entry number 1 and he's one of the last 4 or 5 people in, or gets eliminated by Brock Lesnar cheating, either of those, he ends up looking really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the others...
What was it?
Go on, yeah.
I did read another little touch I really liked was when Goldberg essentially said, "Sod it, everyone's next."
Yeah.
Like hailing back to the who's next thing.
Yeah, he did it before where with Brock Lesnar he was like, "You're next and you're last." Now he's just like, "Everyone's next. Let's go."
Yeah, just fuck it. Spears and jackhammers for everyone.
So other stuff from Raw, New Day. New Day?
Yes.
Holy shit. Can I just say, I say that the New Day are really, really good at promos. And, you know, like, I don't think anyone can deny that. When the New Day want to do a promo, they can do it really fucking well.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I feel like gets missed quite often, and it's really prevalent in this week's Raw, is how subtle they are. They are full heel again. They have very slowly transitioned to being full heel again in such a way that you almost don't notice it.
Oh yeah, they got booed at the end of the match.
Well, that was because of the way they got out of it.
And the fact that Cesaro was involved.
Right. And, like, they don't care. They're not, like, doing anything with, like... They're not reacting to the crowd booing them. They're, like, doing full heel cheating again. Like, they are... It's back to New Day when they were, like, first heels. And that was what gave them their popularity. It has been so subtle, but it's handled incredibly well, and I love it.
Well, it's very nice that they're heels, but they're not like the outwardly evil kind of heel, I find.
Yeah.
Or
they're not like
outwardly
Randy Orton.
Mustache twirling kind of thing.
They're no Randy Orton,
just...
but they are clearly heels.
Yeah, and I always like it when it's a bit more subtle.
Yeah. Talking of the moustache twirling heels, there were 2 big moments for this in this week's Raw, and I love it. They were both hilariously bad. So Rusev had a match against Enzo.
Was this the promo beforehand?
It was Lana in the ring talking when she said, "And now America," and like they're in Canada, so the crowd just started booing relentlessly.
Well, yeah, she did that in Scotland as well.
But also, the Cruiserweight match, Daivari did the same thing, where he started going, "Canadians are just as bad as Americans," and then just starts speaking in foreign language or whatever. And just like, it's just like, oh wow, I wonder if they're trying to make him a heel. On the bright side of that, at least Michael Cole did point out, he was like, he was hailed as being from Minnesota, right? Like, like Cole did point that out, and it was just like, we're obviously just going, oh, generic foreign bad guy, lol. Like, it.
Where was the thing with Enzo being in the buff?
Oh yeah, there was the whole thing with Enzo being naked to build up to the match with Rusev, because
that was kind of odd.
Yeah. Yeah, not
what
sure.
was actually meant to have happened was that he was just locked out of...
Big Cass locked him out of the locker rooms.
Ah, right.
As a joke. Or something.
And then started...
So he just started walking off and was just like, alright, whatever, and then ran into Lana.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Wrestling's weird.
So there was another tag match, which was to see who challenges next week, or this week now, for the New Day's titles. And it was between The Golden Truth and The Club. Like, holy fucking shit. Why not just have a number one contenders match between Roman Reigns and Curtis Axel? Like, what the fuck? Like, who's going to win? The Golden Truth, who have literally lost every match that isn't against the Shining Stars, or The Club, who are actually competent? Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman.
This one kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, there were two things I didn't like about this match. Like, what you go first? Why? What?
Well, why was Sami Zayn the only person to be punished for Survivor Series when all 5 men also lost?
Because Sami Zayn was trying to win a title, I think, is the big difference.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was only him and him only. And it really annoyed me, because it's like, other people lost that night.
Yeah.
And then to put him against Braun Strowman, who was eliminated by James Ellsworth, a jobber, basically.
Yeah.
So, like, why was it only Sami Zayn getting a punishment?
Yeah, my notes are, firstly, why is Sami Zayn in this match? And secondly, just, ow. Like, that match was uncomfortable to watch. Like,
it was just a way to build up Mick Foley and Braun Strowman more than anything to do with Sami Zayn.
Yes. Yeah.
And it kind of annoyed me that Sami Zayn has now become this jobber pawn, basically.
He's a jobber who's meant to... Basically, like, whenever they have, like, the people who are just there to lose, they have, like, face and heel ones. So Curtis Axel is a face jobber. Fine. Sami Zayn is there when they want the crowd to really hate the heel.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think at this point they don't need to do much more to make Braun Strowman seem either like a dick or strong.
Right.
They've done enough to make him seem like both of those things at this point.
But like by the end of that match, like obviously you think Sami Zayn's quite good at like the acting and everything, and you're like, yeah, you know, it makes sense for him to act like he's being beaten up and like battered around. He's probably, you know, being fairly small, he's probably quite used to doing that anyway. And then you just see him like bleeding, and you're just like,
yeah,
oh, this is, oh, I don't really want to watch this anymore. Holy shit.
Maybe not quite Lesnar Orton though.
No, true.
It's like
There's only like a bit out
denting
the
his
nose,
skull.
The women's match was... Oh my god. So firstly, Nia Jax did a promo.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez.
That happened.
So my notes on that, I specifically put, like, why does Nia Jax exist? Oh my god. Also, she's a terrible talker, apparently. Shocking, I know. Because, like, for ages now, we've been going, Nia Jax has not shown that she can do anything other than win. Like, she hasn't shown that she's a credible talker. She hasn't shown that she can lose credibly. And now they finally give her a microphone, and it's like, oh look, she can't do promos. What a fucking surprise.
This has just become this podcast is quickly becoming like the little Nia Jax hate club.
Is it Baron Corbin as well? Because those are the two that I really can't stand. Those are the two that I fucking hate. Oh my god. Got into an argument with someone on a forum the other day, actually, who's a big Nia Jax fan who can't stand Sasha Banks, and I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like,
who are you?
On that note, Sasha dominated the match on Raw, and Nia Jax kind of stood around and did nothing. Again, I don't understand why she's popular. I don't get it.
It annoyed me that she got taken out by one move. But a double suplex, and that's her for the rest of the match gone.
Honestly, I do have an opinion on why Nia Jax is... Why Jax. There we go. Why she's popular, and I don't want to get too much into this issue, but it's like, she's big.
She's a big female wrestler, which is something
a big
WWE
female
don't
wrestler.
do, basically.
Yeah, and they've got one.
The last time they did it, they fucked it up royally.
To be honest, this one.
Well, okay, yeah. But last time they fucked it up in a very different way. Like, she was a credible wrestler who was good at promos and stuff, and they just kind of, like, didn't let her wrestle properly, basically. So now they're letting Nia Jax do that, and people are like, hooray!
But yeah, it's
sucks.
almost that it's still a novelty, so they're using it as a novelty.
Yeah. That's fair. I could see that. Yeah. I just wish they'd focus on good wrestlers more.
Oh, so do I.
They need to focus on the cruiserweight division.
The cruiserweight match this week was amazing. Holy
it was
shit!
really good, wasn't it?
All of them were so damn good. Like, TJ Perkins, since he lost the title, has done nothing. Still looks incredible. He is still one of the best wrestlers they've got. Like, holy shit. Why?
By the way, did you know he likes video games?
Wow. Like, it's almost like probably about 80% of wrestlers do. Seth Rollins has won every up, down, down tournament at this point, I swear.
Yeah.
Like, if he enters a tournament, he wins it.
And from what I've seen, Roman Reigns is pretty good at Call of Duty.
Right, Kane...
Jack Swagger's surprisingly good.
Jack Swagger was really good. Kane used to mod Call of Duty to have his avatar, have his outfit, his ring outfit, which I think is amazing. Like, is it Kofi collects replica weapons from games? He's got a Master Sword and a Hylian shield on his wall, and like Soul Calibur and Soul Edge and stuff like that. Jerry Lawler collects arcade cabinets.
It's like, at this point, wrestling is another nerdy pursuit at the pretty much.
Cody Rhodes wrestles with Triforces on his boots.
And he was in Arrow.
Also that.
It's nerdy stuff.
Yep.
It's just all that cool.
Well, also, when he came out as the first pay-per-view he did as Stardust, he had the Mr. Sinister outfit, and somebody messaged Cody's real account on Twitter, not the Stardust one they had. They messaged Cody's account and were like, what do you think of Stardust's Mr. Sinister outfit? And Cody replied with, it almost looks like he went to Fox for the action, like Fox's costume designers for it. Nice.
It's all that stuff is great, and that's why it's like, oh yeah, TJ Perkins likes video games. That's not a surprising gimmick, especially nowadays when like 80% of people play video games.
I will say, the way they're doing like a gamer gimmick kind of works. And I think there are better ways to do it than they are doing, but I do like the fact that they're actually doing that gimmick finally. Because one of the things that me and my brother spoke about fucking ages ago is we wanted to see somebody with an almost like gamer gimmick, but also this idea would have worked really well for Alberto Del Rio. Because he had a habit of stealing things from other people. Like, he would use their taunts and like their moves and start using their mannerisms. We wanted somebody who came in and like got beaten by someone, basically had a rivalry where they got beaten by somebody and then started using their moves against them. And it just built up and built up and built up until they used their moves against them. And then they have a match against somebody else. Like, say they lose that rivalry, sure. Because they've got one person's moves and the other person's been doing it for years. But then they go into the next one, they're using the same moves, and then start using some of that person's, and just build up, like, little moves here and there from other people's repertoires. And, like, it probably wouldn't last long as a gimmick, but it would be really interesting while it lasted.
Give it to Curtis Axel.
Give it to Curtis Axel, yes. God.
But yeah, my that's the thing. My problem with TJ Perkins isn't necessarily the gimmick itself. It's not that he's doing a gamer gimmick. I think it's just that they're being so ham-fisted with it.
Yes, I'll agree with that. So moving on,
there is one big thing with TJ Perkins that I like. I can actually have my full name in a wrestling game now.
God damn it.
I'm very happy with it.
I still can't.
So, moving on anyway, we've gone over from time already, we've still got SmackDown to do, fuck. The end of Raw, the final match, the main event. Firstly, I always say Kevin Owens is really hitting this for me. Like, he's either absolutely outstanding, best wrestler there is, really good at promos, really good in the ring, or he just kind of does the same promo every week and plods around a bit and doesn't look good. This week, he was outstanding. Holy shit. Firstly, his promo before the match against Seth was godlike.
Was that Owens and Jericho?
No, it was Owens talking to Sam, I think her name is, the new interviewer they've got. And, like, halfway through the promo, he's just like, well, Renee, what we're going to do? And starts, like, answering this question. And then, like, carries on talking. And then halfway through, he's like, look, Renee, you're not Renee, are you? Just stop. He's like, wait. And then, like, he ends it with, and now stop bothering me, stranger who I don't really know. And I loved it. It was so good. It was so...
When was the Owens Jericho one?
Oh, God. That was earlier in the night. It was the...
where they nearly fall out.
The highlight reel. Yeah.
Yeah, where they nearly fall out.
That was expertly done.
They almost break up as a team, well, and then they're just like, you know what?
We know who's to blame for this. We know who's to blame for this. Well, I know who's to blame for this. Roman Reigns, yeah.
So it's almost like we could end up with a Jericho versus Roman and Seth feud.
Funny that. It's almost like they want to push Roman towards a title shot, and Jericho versus Rollins has been built for a while. However, I hope that Rollins gets at least one more shot, given that Jericho was banned from ringside and interfered in the match.
Wearing Sin Cara's mask of all things after what's happened.
I love it.
After the big fight.
I love it.
That had to have been intentional.
But that match was unbelievable. Firstly, there's a reason I always say, like, with the Shield, I was always like, Seth is the best member of the Shield. And people were always like, oh, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose. You know, Dean Ambrose has more of the history. Roman Reigns looked better, like, looked stronger in the Shield. I was like, no, but Seth has the big moments, and Seth is the good talker. And you know what? Seth had the big moments again. He fucking did it again in this match. And he's unbelievable. He's such a good wrestler. I cannot understand why people would dislike him.
He's great when he's being technical and jumping off things.
Right. He's turning face, which means he's good. Like, he's allowed to do that.
When he goes face, he jumps off things.
Get rid of the pedigree, give him a real finisher, and, like, he's perfect. Give him the curb stomp back.
Bring the curb stomp back.
They can't.
No, give the curb stomp back if it wasn't for the fact it, like, murders people.
Right, yeah. But the coup de grace is fine.
Yeah, stamping on someone's chest is alright.
Yeah, just not the head. You can understand it, but it's still annoying, because, God, he would be so much better with the curb stomp.
Give him a punt kick instead.
No, please not the punt. Any more comments on Raw?
Just going back to, Sami Zayn and how he's like the glorified jobber. Are we meant to ignore the fact that he beat Kevin Owens, who's the current Universal Champion, about 4 months ago?
Yes.
It was just something.
Remember,
it was just in my mind when.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just in my mind when Braun Strowman was throwing him round. It's like, he's beaten the champion. What's going on?
I hate it so much. God damn it. Yeah. Then again, moving on to SmackDown, talking of beating the champion, James Ellsworth.
I was so frustrated when it was happening.
Is that his second victory over AJ Styles in 3 matches? Third
winning overall.
Oh, of course, it was by DQ. So it's his third win in 3 matches.
Yep.
Oh.
I want James Ellsworth to beat AJ Styles and for it to be James Ellsworth versus Dean Ambrose at the TLC.
So they're forced to fight.
Yeah. I don't really. I hate James Ellsworth, but
he was an interesting novelty, but I think he's starting to outstay his welcome as a novelty.
Yes, I like the match against AJ, and I like what he did at Survivor Series. I like the ending of the match, except for one thing: Ellsworth winning. I think this would have been an amazing way for him to go, we're going to offer you a contract. No, I'm going to fight for it. It's all everything or nothing. I want to be all or nothing. And then have AJ win and just be like, oh, fuck, it's nothing.
Plus the fact that James Ellsworth nearly killed AJ Styles. He pushed him off the ladder and he hit his foot off the rope.
I mean...
My heart jumped when that happened.
To be fair, AJ knew that was happening. Isn't that more on AJ than Ellsworth?
Yeah, but...
I can't
still blaming Ellsworth.
I can't fault people for stuff like that. I never can. It's why I won't blame Seth Rollins for the fact that Balor's injured, because every injury is going to be more down to miscommunication or Like, in some cases, you can see that someone fucks up. In Finn Balor's case, it was Finn Balor.
Yeah, he wasn't like angry at anyone for it. He was just like, "Oh, this shit happens."
Yeah, well, I mean,
might as well just try and recover and get back.
Getting hit by the like turnbuckle powerbomb. Normally, you lift your arms up to go over the ropes. Against the like barricades, you're not meant to. You're meant to go down, because if you go up, then you're slamming your shoulder blades into a barricade, which is what happened. So you're meant to go down so your arms can take some of the pressure. But, you know, like, with John Cena, when Rollins, like, busted up Cena's nose, that was very obviously a miscommunication. Cena thought he was meant to go down for a different move. Rollins went for the running knee, thinking Cena was going to be up.
Shit
Miscommunication. Collide. So I'm not going to blame Ellsworth for the fact that AJ landed awkwardly. You know, if that's on anyone, it is on AJ Styles.
I'm so surprised he was okay, though.
Yes, to be fair.
It looked horrible.
By the way, all through this show, Dean Ambrose, I've said it before, I am not a big Dean Ambrose fan. This show, godlike. Absolutely perfect.
I hated every single second that Dean Ambrose is on screen.
I thought it played to his strengths really, really well, because he was an idiot and he was kind of comic relief, but he didn't have to wrestle. And they didn't try and make him out. They didn't try and make him out as like a credible threat.
No, I find him at his best when he's just sort of doing shenanigans.
Right. I think Ambrose is a supporting role. He is not the main character. He should not be the front of the company wrestling for the title. I don't think that's where he belongs. I think he is best when he is interfering in matches, helping other people, or screwing over somebody, and then... So, like, basically, rather than having AJ with the title and Ambrose screwing him over and then getting title shots, what I would want to see is something like AJ with the title and say... no, I can't think of anyone else who actually works for this role. Holy shit. Have AJ drop the title to someone else and then have Ambrose interfere in the rematches.
The Undertaker.
Sure, Undertaker can win the title.
I'd love to see AJ Styles versus The Undertaker.
But that Dean just finds whoever wants to go up against AJ Styles and go, I'm going to help you because I fucking hate AJ.
Right. But then have it so that, say Undertaker wins, sure, and then have Ambrose interfere with the matches so much that actually AJ doesn't get another opportunity and it's Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker or Ziggler versus The Undertaker for the title, and then Dean can have a match versus AJ Styles that isn't the main event match.
No, it could just be a normal rivalry.
And I think that works a lot better for Dean. And this show, I think, really showed that. I think he was much, much better, and he looked much, much better just dicking around and doing stupid things and not having to carry a show. Like, when it is Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles as the pinnacle of your show, I don't think Dean Ambrose can handle it. And that's really
very fair.
Weird to say, though. But this, like, the promos, honestly, like, him just showing up unannounced and not taking things seriously and just turning up with pizza and just, like, showing up dressed as the Mountie.
Yeah, like, that I did like that.
Little things like that. I love it. And Daniel Bryan works really well with him because he just, like, he doesn't build it up as something more than it is. He's not just like, you're insane, holy shit. He's just like, kind of bemused but laughing, but kind of fed
up. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's like bemused exasperation is how I put it, and it's just like he's kind of like, I find this funny, but I'm kind of fed up of it. But as long as it doesn't get too over the top, whatever. And I like that. That kind of works, and that's what the reaction to Ambrose should be, really.
I don't want it to get to the point where he's spraying people with mustard again, though.
I'll agree with that, yeah. Right now, I know they're on different shows, but the dream rivalry for me at this point, the way they've built them, would be Ambrose versus Rusev. Because they've built up Ambrose to the point where he shouldn't be in a main event, and they've built up Rusev to the point where he isn't a main event player.
And also, Rusev, I find, is like fairly serious in a lot of the way he does things.
He is.
And having the levity of Dean would play off it quite well.
Yes, and it kind of bounces off
just like,
well.
You strange little man.
Right. As a thing, Ambrose interfering in the match with Styles and Ellsworth was kind of expected, but the fact that Ellsworth actually did stuff, like, I know you said you didn't like the fact that he pushed AJ off the ladder and nearly injured him or whatever, but actually Ellsworth doing stuff, I like. I'm glad that he did stuff.
He almost put up a fight of his own.
Right, Ambrose interfered like once. Ellsworth started the match injured, supposedly. Like, sure, that seems good. I like that. So there were two other matches I made notes on, and I'm going to start with the more disappointing one, which was Natalya versus Becky Lynch. What? Like, it was filler. It was pure filler. It only existed to have Alexa Bliss attack afterwards. And, like, I'm fine with filler matches happening, but, like, it just dragged on too long. Like, if you're going to have a filler match, give it a couple of minutes, swing one way, swing the other way, end, someone interferes, done. But this one was like 5-10 minutes of Natalya and Becky kind of going back and forth, kind of slowly and not really doing much. And then eventually someone wins, and Alexa attacks, and oh, what a shame, move on. Like, it dragged on too long, it was really disappointing, and I'm really hating the way they're handling the women's division on SmackDown. It is one of the... Personally, I think SmackDown has handled a lot of things better, but Raw has the better roster and is handling the women's division much better.
Yeah.
Much, much better.
What happened to Naomi as well?
Also that. God damn it.
Also,
what happened to Eva Marie? Wasn't she joining at one point?
Yeah, she kind of like... I think she got suspended for something to do with the wellness policy.
Yeah.
And then just hasn't come back.
Yeah, that was like 2 months ago now.
I think she's shooting a movie.
Was it a couple of months ago there was like 8 or 9 people who all got suspended?
It was Reigns,
there was the
Paige,
party,
Del Rio, and Eva Marie.
Yeah, the party from hell.
Yeah.
But no, Eva Marie, she was meant to be in that pay-per-view. It was like it was when Nikki Bella came back. And she was meant to be in that pay-per-view. Like, that's the point. It was when Nikki Bella came back. How long ago was that now? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Was that SummerSlam?
Yeah.
Like, so we're talking like a good 3 months since Eva Marie left. And that night when Nikki Bella came back was the first match that Eva Marie was meant to actually wrestle. And they were like, Eva Marie is not turning up because she's got anxiety because the crowd keep booing her. And that was the first day. Like, that was basically the start of her suspension. She hasn't come back.
Yeah, I think last time I looked, she was filming a movie. I think it was a movie.
Right, that would make sense. Yeah. Okay.
But she's like some like badass James Bond action star in it, and it's like, really?
Oh god. So. Yeah, I don't even want to dwell on that for too long. Holy shit. So there's one match I haven't mentioned, right?
Yeah.
And personally, this was in some ways the highlight of the show for me, and in some ways the most disappointing part. Tag Team Turmoil.
I always get excited when I see them, and this one kind of didn't live up to it. I
liked parts of it. So... Firstly, it started off as Ascension versus Hype Bros. And
really one-sided.
I didn't think it was. The Ascension looked really, really good, and then Hype Bros did like one move and got a pin. But the Ascension looked really, really good. Then secondly, after that, I know they're still called Breezango, but I'm going to start calling them the Fashion Police, because I prefer that, and I like that gimmick for them. It works really well.
It's a really good gimmick.
It doesn't have that weird, cringy...
And Breezango sounds stupid. I always hate the like hybrid names. They never sound good.
Yeah. It's got the portmanteau shit that I hate.
Yeah, that.
So Survivor Series is funny when they were like handing tickets out to everybody in the match.
I love the tickets. I love all of it. It just suits them so well. I like that they did the whole like, what's the fucking Ben Stiller film?
Zoolander.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. They're doing that. That is. They are both. They're the two models. Like, that's it. That's who they are based on, very blatantly. As to the point that there is a specific one to each of them. As in, Fandango is Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
But they came in against the Hype Bros, and they actually did a really, really nice move that I thought was really good. Where
the whole catapult into a forearm.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both pretty good workers.
It was a really good move as well. It was like almost like monkey flip into a forearm over the ropes, into a flip over into a pin. And it was like, this is all just really smooth. This looks really good, and it got the pin on the Hype Bros. And then they tried to do the same to American Alpha, but Jason Jordan got his arm up before he could get elbowed first. And so he hit them back down, and they ended up getting pinned. And it worked quite well within a very contained match. It was like, they brought out this new move. It's a really good, bit of teamwork. Really nice move for them to use. And then it's backfired on them immediately. Okay, cool, whatever. And then the Vaudevillains came out and just...
30 seconds, I think they're in.
They literally got hit by one move each, and that was it.
Yeah. They're dead in the water.
Yeah, they're gone.
Aiden English has a really good beard, though. I'll say that.
Well, the problem is, the Vaudevillains are great, but everyone said it to begin with. They're an NXT gimmick. Bo Dallas's old gimmick was an NXT gimmick. Adam Rose was an NXT gimmick. There are certain ones that really, really work when you've got a small crowd that sees you week after week. The Vaudevillains is one of those. Yeah.
Because Adam Rose had one that, in a vacuum, seemed like it was a pretty cool gimmick.
Yeah.
Or a rather fun one, but no one really cared.
Just, you can't get into it when... It works when it's the same crowd every week, because then they feel like they're part of that group. And it's almost like they were part of Adam Rose's, Party Express.
Party posse.
Yeah. And, it doesn't work when it's global audiences, TV audiences, and then moving crowds. And I feel like the Vaudevillains is the same kind of thing, because it's very cheesy and it's very over the top, and you kind of need to have that suspension of disbelief for it. And a lot of people don't. You know, if you're seeing people...
But that being said...
Yeah. I was just going to say, if you've got the same people time and time again, eventually they're going to be like, alright, it's the Vaudevillains, we know that we're not meant to take this seriously. And they're going to get into that habit.
That's why I think The Undertaker is still credible. Because if you look at his gimmick at face value...
it's awful.
He's an undead wrestler who summons lightning.
And gets his powers from an urn.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
Oh,
but it's been around for so long now, we all just know it and accept it.
And there's a reason that Bray Wyatt took a while to really click with people. Because he is exactly that, ham-fisted about things. It's so cheesy and so over the top, and you're just like, I know I'm not really meant to take this seriously, so I won't. I will say, the match, so it ended up as a match between Usos and American Alpha, which we all kind of expected. But that was a really good match. That was an incredibly, incredibly good match. And as it came out of it, I was thinking the entire match, Usos versus Slater and Rhino, kind of boring. American Alpha versus Slater and Rhino, that's not going to work for build-up. And then there was a Wyatt promo, and everything was perfect in the world. I love the way that match ended, and I'm really excited for where things go from here, because they're actually building up the Wyatts, Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton as a tag team.
I thought that was weird to start with, but now I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think it's better than where Bray Wyatt has been, and I think it's better than where Randy Orton has been, and I'm not going to complain, basically.
I'm actually happy that it's not Luke Harper and Randy Orton as well.
Yes, yeah.
I thought they were going to do that and have Bray Wyatt. Yeah.
Yeah. Bray Wyatt actually needs to wrestle more.
Something in NXT that's annoying me with Sanity.
Yeah.
Where the two tag team people are doing everything, and Eric Young still hasn't done anything. He is next week, but he's a great talent, and they're not using him.
No, that's fair. It happens sometimes. It's always disappointing, but cool. I think that's all I've got to say on everything.
Yeah, at the moment, that's all I've got.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what matches are coming up for TLC. We haven't done predictions.
I've got them all written down.
No, maybe we could do that.
We'll do that as a
Yeah,
separate
we'll do
show
it.
again. I think that can be a
'Cause
mini
it is-
show on
we have
its own.
Yeah, we've still got another week of
Right.
shows before
There's
that.
no point doing it quickly now and then adjusting it all for that. And
Yeah.
this show's gone on long enough as it is, so we'll do that as a mini episode, I guess. Cool.
Yep. Next episode is
Anime on Thursday, isn't it?
anime.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry.
anime on Thursday.
Yeah.
Cool. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's all from us.
Yeah, hope you've enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you next time.